This is the Brian Dutcher Report.
People that are interested in Mountain West basketball and San Diego State will get a chance to see us firsthand.
Driven by Sunroad's Kearney Mesa Subaru. It just makes sense. Minutes from anywhere in San Diego.
All right, coming up, the voice of the Aztecs, Ted Leitner, will join us at 2 p.m. Right now, we go to Indianapolis. We say hello to the head coach of San Diego State basketball. He is Brian Dutcher, who joins us from quarantine somewhere in Indianapolis. Dutch, Darren, thank you so much for the time.
Hey, Darren, great to be back.
Congratulations, Dutch. I know that oftentimes we started the show talking a little bit about this. People get so wrapped up in the NCAA tournament, so wrapped up into the brackets. It's so exciting when you see your names called, but congratulations on winning the tournament title on Saturday. What a great moment for you. What a great moment for your players.
Yeah, really, really special, and we got a taste of it my first year, lost in the last 2 years in the finals, and it's always a disappointment to get that far and lose in the championship game, and then to play our nemesis from the past 2 seasons, Utah State, who had beaten us, to get them in a third time and to come away with a win was really gratifying and a great credit to the kids and my coaching staff.
Well, Dutch, I joked with the audience earlier that I would have but one question for you here on the show today. Obviously, I'm lying through my teeth as usual. I just got to ask, what was the reaction like from Mrs. Dutcher when you finally saw her after you went backwards off off the ladder? What did she say to you when she saw that video?
Well, obviously, I haven't seen her since. We've talked on the phone, and the first thing she asked is, "Who came up with that idea?" I said, "I did. That was my idea." She loved it. She loved it. She said that was fantastic. She loved the fact that I believed in my team and trusted them, and what better way than to fall off the ladder and have them there to catch the old guy and not let him hit the floor.
So that was your idea. So you're up there on the ladder. I hope that was the official ladder of the NCAA, by the way, but that's another story. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. You cut down the last piece of the net, and then you just decide, all right, that's it. Let's just do the trust fall.
I just said, "You guys ready for a trust fall?" And Nathan Mensah said, No, Coach, no. He's my protector. So, but I said, "Nathan, come on, we're going to do it." And I had a laugh at the pitcher in the paper, a couple of the pitchers. Josh Tomajic, he looked aghast when he saw me dropping off the ladder. So I thought it was kind of a fun moment, and one I'll remember, that's for sure.
Oh, it was one of the greatest moments ever. But just to be clear, there's no history of that whatsoever. This isn't one of those team bonding things that perhaps you guys had done somewhere before when the cameras weren't rolling?
No, I just seen people doing it, on different TV, not for some time, and I just thought, boy, it'd be kind of fun just to do it with the team. In that moment, it was spontaneous. It wasn't anything I thought out in advance. I got up there and thought this would be a kind of cool way to end it, and I went for it. The kids caught me, and it was kind of a fun moment. Now,
Absolutely.
maybe Darren, people do it in the future. We'll be the first.
I love that. You guys are trendsetters. Everybody knows that. Brian Dutcher joining us on Xtra 1360. By the way, what would have happened had they not caught you, out of curiosity?
Well, Dave Velasquez would be coaching the Aztecs right
now. Yeah, Dave was probably hoping that they did drop you.
Yeah, I don't know if he caught me or not. I have to look back at the review and see if he was there.
Dutch, we said this earlier. I don't know if the disappointment of last year somehow manifested itself in a drive and a determination with this year's team. The team is different. You lost 3 starters. You lost 1 in the first round of the NBA draft. But there was something about you guys having it taken away from you last year. And it's nobody's fault. These are just the circumstances that we've been living with now for the better part of a year. But was there something about that really drove players who were a part of last year's team, namely Matt Mitchell, namely Jordan Shackle? Was there something about not taking things for granted that really drove this team this year to the success that it's already had?
They're just really good kids. And obviously, we're always motivated to make the NCAA tournament. That's our goal. And I was texting Craig Smith from Utah State, and I just said I was so happy he got in because they were in the same boat last year. They had won the postseason tournament. They had Merrill. They had a great team, maybe a better team last year than this year. And it remains to be seen whether this year's Aztec team or last year's is going to be better in the long run. But both of those teams missed out on the NCAA tournament. And it seemed like it was only fate or just that both of us who missed last year and we're going to go have a chance to go this year. So we're all happy for our kids, whether that's Craig at Utah State or me with San Diego State and our team. We're just overjoyed for the kids to have the opportunity.
Absolutely. And you guys are a big part of that as well. And the basketball gods absolutely shined on you guys. And everybody, I think, is excited for those reasons, amongst many other reasons as well. Dutch, I can't imagine you have any complaints about how you're seated, about where you're playing, about seeing your name called, maybe the opponent, because you know Boeheim's been around forever. But when you saw your names called on Selection Sunday yesterday, give us a sense of what you thought.
It's always a great feeling. I mean, that feeling never goes away, whether it's way back in my early part of my career in 1988-89 when Michigan's name got called and we won the national championship through the Fab Five, through all these great Aztec teams. When your name's called, whether you already know you're going in some of those circumstances, there's that feeling of seeing it put on that board and knowing who you're playing and just knowing it's here, the tournament's here.
How long after you see your name called, you celebrate, you realize now this is the reality of it, how long does it take you as the head coach to start thinking Syracuse, Boeheim, 2-3 matchup zone? How long before you start the wheels start turning here for preparing for the game coming up on Friday night?
Well, once our name comes up, then you basically tune out of the rest of the bracket. You see your first round opponent, you see who's in the bracket with your side, and then if there's other brackets being announced, you're not even paying attention. And, by the time it got finished the selection show, I had 4 Syracuse games on my laptop. We all went to our rooms, started watching tape and preparing for the game. And, that's the beauty of this day and age, where there used to be a day where you'd get your opponent, you'd have to pay a certain amount, $100, $200 a tape, to have them send VHS tapes of that opponent to you. There was no getting anything online. And now everything's so instant that you have their games. We were watching them that night, preparing for today's practice, which we just finished. And we've been through quarantine. It's just the whole process we're going through.
Did the memories, did you start flashing back immediately to the deck of the USS Midway, thinking about the last time that you all saw Syracuse?
Yeah, I just was so happy we weren't going to play them outside in a windstorm, against that zone. That might have been the worst scheduling decision in the history of the world, to play a zone team on an aircraft carrier. But with that being said, it was a highlight game. I know we lost and it was this and that, but to play up there in the camo uniforms, with San Diego as a backdrop, that was still such a special game. And I think anybody that went there had that feeling when we played on top of the aircraft carrier.
Absolutely. By the way, I also would like your team's chances this year much better than that year's team, with all respect to that year's team, because you guys got shooters now. And though the wind and the windstorm and the elements play a factor and would play a factor with the best shooters out there, but having guys like Gomez and Shackle and even Seiko, those are guys now, I feel like this year's squad, Dutch, no guarantees obviously in the NCAA tournament, but this year's squad, for what it is that you all are going to face on Friday, like this is the kind of squad that you would want to build, that you would want to have facing a Syracuse team.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't see our draw and say, oh, no, a zone team. We're no good against zone. No one zones us because we're very good against zone. Now, we'll see if we're good against the best zone in the country. It's what Jim Boeheim's been playing for 44 years there. So some people try to save some time in a game with zone. They throw one out there, but they're not polished in it. It's not what their base is. This is Syracuse's base defense. Any play we've run that will run against it, they've seen 1,000 times. So we have plays against zone, but then we got to flow into just whatever the concept is offensively we want after the play. And the nice thing is we'll have 3 or 4 days to work on that.
Speaking of, it's often said about this zone in particular that there's only so much you can do in practice, that you really have to see what it looks like live. Has that been your experience? Is that accurate when you're talking about facing this coach and this team in particular? There's only so much you and the coaching staff can do, but in order to truly appreciate what it is that Syracuse throws at you defensively, you sort of got to see it in real time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, teams in the ACC, obviously, they've had great success in that league, but the more you see that defense over and over and over, you start getting a feel, well, this is the areas where we've had success, and you go back to those areas. When you see it for the first time on tape, you say, well, here's where we can exploit it, and you get there and you can't, then you sit there, oh no, what's next? So we have plays to work against zone, but it's more important what we do after the play's over, that we know what kind of rotation we need offensively to create opportunities for ourselves. And that's what we'll work on for the next couple of days.
You just referred to it as the best zone defense out there in the sport. What makes it so great?
Because it's all they do. You know, most teams throw a zone out there, and if it doesn't work, they'll go back to man or the mixed defenses. They're going to play that zone, and you'll run a play, and they'll get used to it and see what it is, and then it might work in the first half, second half. They know their rotations, and they go against every play and every toppable rotation you could possibly see. So nothing surprises them. You might catch them off guard early, but they'll make an adjustment, and it's their base defense. The difference this year is, you know, they're used to having a 7-footer on the back line that blocks shots, that changes shots. You know, Dolashide is big. He's long, but he's thin. It's not the typical shot blocker that anchors their zone. So maybe we'll have an opportunity to get a few more putbacks or a few baskets around the rim this time.
Yeah, not a great rebounding team statistically, not this year, Syracuse Orange. Brian Dutcher joining us here on Xtra 1360. And Dutch, you're right. I mean, you could go 5 for 5 from three-point range on your first 5 shots, and they're not going to switch out. They're not going to go man-to-man. They recruit based on this defense, right? I've heard Boeheim say that in the past. They don't recruit just on who scores the most in whatever high school game Boeheim's recruiting. They recruit very much on who it is that's going to fit this particular system that they've used for 45 years.
Yeah, he's done it forever, and so he knows what kind of players work in the system, what kind of length he wants in the zone, you know, what rim protectors he has, and he's been the master of it. And he's won a national championship with it, and he's been doing it, like you said, for 44 years at Syracuse. So I think he knows what he's doing at this point. He's seen everything.
I would say so. How about playing at Hinkle Fieldhouse? Have you ever been there, Dutch?
I've never been in the building, so I'm excited for that. You know, I think it's good for instead of playing in a dome, I think it's more of a shooter's gym, which hopefully will help us against that zone where the backdrop is more normal like a college game instead of a cavernous stadium.
Exactly right? Because that's the thing that sometimes will get into the minds of the shooters is when they lose, you know, their line of sight. So playing in a 9,100-person gym, to me, fits you guys perfectly. I think that's a huge advantage for San Diego State.
I would hope so. I hope it helps with our shooting where the backdrop makes the rim look better, more in focus and closer. You know, you get in the stadium and the first row of seats is 1,000 yards away. That's just a different backdrop to shoot on.
Yeah, it stinks. Hey, last thing, Dutch. I know you don't want to get into comparing different players, different teams, things along those lines. Maybe somewhere down the road we can have this conversation. And I'm singling out Matt Mitchell because he's been singled out as the player of the year and the tournament MVP. And he's won a regular season title now and a conference tournament title. I mean, to me, I mean this respectfully to everybody. He'd be the first to say that it is a total team effort, that it's a reflection of the quality of the team. But this kind of year, I mean, it's almost unprecedented, isn't it, watching what Matt Mitchell did this year, being the MVP of the regular season, of the tournament, and winning a couple of conference championships?
Yeah, it's, you know, he and Jordan have hung 4 banners in Viejas Arena in 4 years. You know, and that's a heck of an accomplishment. And so when you win, everybody gets credit. And Matt's got a lot of credit for what he's done for the program. But the thing I love about Matt is he's done it unselfishly. You know? Yeah, he's taken some hard shots where people say, boy, that's a hard shot. Well, your best player sometimes has to take hard shots. Not everything we do on the court is drawn up by me, where it works to perfection. And so Matt shares the ball. He plays the right way. But once in a while, he has to be aggressive for himself in order for us to be successful. And he seems like Malachi did a year ago to pick and choose those moments when to try to make a play that helps his team win.
Well, Dutch, it's a busy week for you guys. Already in Indianapolis, Friday night, 6:45, Syracuse University. Can't say congrats enough for you, for your players. I do like the way that you guys, you know, started including last year's team here into the conversations as well, talking about how good you all have been over the last couple of years. The selection committee heard you. I think they rewarded you with a 6 seed. We'll be watching on Friday night. We'll be listening on Friday night. Dutch, congrats on everything and good luck upcoming this week.
Thanks, Darren. I appreciate it.